Hello. Hi. Oh man, that's not a good way to start a show. I got a
Great start.
new resolution. I got to learn how to start a podcast. This is my
Eh,
first one. So, hey folks, welcome to another glorious episode of Jeff Has Cool Friends, the first official Jeff Has Cool Friends episode of 2025. And I'm very excited to ring in the newish year with one of my very, very good, terrible friends. This is a person who, against all of my better judgment, I hold very dearly to my heart and love very deeply. And also, you guys seem to love his episodes. I don't know what's wrong with you guys, but I am, of course, joined by my best friend and comedian, a podcaster, all around bad guy to know, Adam Tod Brown. Adam, hi.
Hey, Jeff, thank you for having me. I did notice up top you messed up the title of the show. It's Jeff Has a Cool Friend, right? I thought.
No, multiple. I mean,
What?
today,
I thought I'm just on
no
every
cool
once.
friends on this episode, but in the future,
I thought I was just on every once in a while, and then you just talk about
and then I
me.
just do one man shows.
The other
Talk about
episode.
you. You'll never guess what Adam texted me earlier. He said he's going to punch me in the ribs.
Yeah, yeah. I
Uh,
probably did text Jeff that, but
I mean, I think we had a good conversation about butts last night, but it is what it is, folks. So the last time I had Adam on was the summer of 2023. You are my first third return. I don't normally repeat guests too often, but the people can't get enough of Adam Todd Brown. You'd think that you had anything good to say.
yeah, I don't. I have nothing good to say usually.
Yeah, but on
But
here, I guess you do.
I appreciate that the audience loves me.
They do.
Ooh,
It kind of makes me, I kind of want to delete the Patreon because of it.
yeah, it makes sense. I
Yeah.
would.
I'm
Yeah.
like, no, thanks. No, but they do. They love you because they're smart. And you've been with these people, a lot of these people, you've been with them since like 2013, and some in a non-audio format even before that.
I've been doing this a long time, Jeff.
You have. So as a quick, for those of you that don't know Adam, like you've listened to somehow only this, and you were somehow not aware of my entire existence on the internet. But Adam has been my best friend, partner, and co-host on podcasts since like what, 2014 or something.
I mean,
I mean,
unpopular
technically I was a
opinion.
guest before,
You were a guest on. You were on the first unpopular.
first or
Opinion.
second. Yeah. I think I
Yeah,
was the first on Pops.
I think you were on the first because everyone teamed up and gave you shit for liking hockey.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Hockey was like Hash Hockey in Hannah Montana was the name of the episode, right? I
yeah, yeah,
think
yeah.
that was
That
when
that
Hannah
was.
Montana was a child.
Yeah, she was just a little thing back then.
She
She
was
was
a
still
child.
Hannah Montana.
Yeah. Yeah. Now she's Monster. Hannah Monster.
Yeah,
I love that.
2013 is when unpopular opinion started. So that's a long time. I started doing my first paid internet comedy was in 2007. Is the first time I was ever paid to write something
And
on
that was
the internet.
for,
That was for Cracked.
oh, okay.
It was an article about the most unnecessary greatest hits albums of all
Ah,
time.
yes.
And yeah, I was working in insurance at the time. And that was the first time I had been paid to write. And I was like, I like this. I'm going to make this a career.
Yeah,
So
let's just do this, right? Now
yeah.
that was the one I believe you said you had pushed one that an editor was like, you can't because I like this band or something like that.
Oh, yeah. I had Belle Biv DeVoe on the list. And my editor at the time decided Belle Biv DeVoe legitimately had a bunch of hits. So they didn't belong on a list of the most unnecessary greatest hits albums. At which point I reminded him, yes, they had a bunch of hits all on one album.
Mhm.
They never had another hit after that first album.
Yeah.
So that is the definition of an unnecessary greatest
Yeah.
hits album.
Yeah.
But they made me cut it. So I replaced them with Color Me Bad. Exact same
But
deal.
then you left the entire Belle Biv DeVoe
Yeah. I
article part. All the paragraphs were about Belle Biv DeVoe.
yeah, I just did the, Alt F replace.
Yeah. When Color Me Bad released Poison. Yes, this is fine. Yeah, so this is one of those things, like, obviously, like, we've been sort of doing this for quite some time. And one of the things I love about you, I love about you, and also I find very entertaining about you, is that you, every time if anything starts to feel slightly stagnant, you immediately are like, boy, I got to shake the out of this. And I actually really like that about you. Like, we've gone through a lot of shifts in what we've done, and it's always been really, really high quality.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you feel it's high quality. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, you sort of, like, I learn a lot of, like, how to prepare for podcasts, basically, with seeing how you were doing it and be like, oh, look, yeah, like, this is how we should be doing it. You see a lot of these podcasts and it's like dip comedians, and
Yeah.
they're just like talking with no point.
There's the Talking with No Point podcasts. I've also been on more than a few where you show up and the host literally just reads a Wikipedia page or an entry from a book. And it's like,
Yeah, yeah,
that's not research.
yeah, it's
That's,
bedtime story.
yeah, you're just reading to me.
Oh, and then not structurally too. On the other side, I always find it interesting when we'll have a guest on, and they apparently don't know what a podcast is,
Yeah.
or they think someone. I remember we had a guest on not too long ago. He seemed like a nice enough guy, but I think he thought we were going to dedicate an entire podcast to the fact that he had a movie coming out,
Right.
like an independent VOD movie.
And I
And
would,
we were like, be part of the show, man.
yeah, I would never put the audience through that. And here's the thing, I had him on because a publicist reached out to me and was like, hey, do you think this guy would be a good fit for your show? And I normally, like, I'd say 8 out of 10 times, I usually just ignore it. If
Yeah.
anything, I'll reply and say, no, this is actually not a good fit. Because in most cases, it's not. But that guy was just a comedian promoting a movie. And we had just done, you weren't on the episode, but we had just done the same thing with an actor named Samba Shoot, who is on Our Flag Means Death. And exact same thing. I explained, listen, this is going to be like a listener Q&A thing. Questions aren't necessarily going to be about you. Just, play along, have fun, and we'll still plug your stuff up top. I had all those same conversations this time around with the second guy, and it somehow did not get through because the Samba Shoot episode, he was great.
Yeah.
Like, he got it, but
That happens sometimes, I guess, right? Like, that's
Yeah.
a lot of times people will ask, like, I will get hit occasionally up by people that want to do the show that I don't really know.
Right.
And I'm like, I think you might not understand the point of this show. We're not friends. Like, I don't know you. And, like, I know that you have a cool job, but we have no rapport. So how
Yeah.
can I discuss the things and the connections that we have and why I feel like I should be lifting you up? Also, I can't vet you fast enough.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you get a person that you want to have on, and then you scratch the surface a little bit and you're like, oh, but also you're a predator. And I didn't realize that until the last minute.
Yeah. As someone who hosts a conspiracy theory podcast, I get a lot of, hey, want to have this guy on? And then I look into it and it's like, I don't know. Can I ask him about all the QAnon stuff, or are we just talking about the financial collapse that's coming? Because I want to get into the QAnon stuff this guy's posting. And I bet that's not where he wants to go with this interview.
And he's like, I do not want to be challenged on my absolutely insane beliefs.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I am one of maybe 10 people doing conspiracy podcasts who aren't right wingers. And I'd say 10 is probably fewer than that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess if you count, I guess the only way that you could possibly consider fudging those numbers is if you count, like, cryptozoology podcasts as conspiracies.
Oh, sure.
And then your numbers go up exclusively high.
Yeah. Yeah. Way.
Somebody's just like, I think there should be Medicare for all. And also Bigfoot, he's real. He's real, right? And you're always like, probably not.
Maybe.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. We've mapped out most of everything, but yeah. There's a.
That's not true. We haven't mapped out most of everything.
I'll map out most of everything off your head.
Wow. Is that that's how you talk to your friends? You talk
That's
to your
how
friends
that's
that
how I
mouth?
talk to my guests on this show. Adam, so you don't ever talk to me like this. You know
What do you want, Jeff? Damn
so,
it.
okay, so one of the reasons I wanted you on the show, first and foremost, because I want to do like a hey, like what are we looking forward to? Because what are we looking forward to, right? And I wanted to do that, but also like we were talking and you texted me very recently some very interesting, a very interesting idea that I'm all in for and fascinated by. And I'm like, man, I don't think we should waste this just by texting. I would like to talk about that.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how people are going to take it. For one thing, Unpopular Opinion ran for a long time. 500 episodes.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's this many.
Yeah, most TV shows don't get to that. It's a long time. I did it for a long, long time. And we ended up changing the name mostly because I looked into like trademarking Unpopular Opinion. And the lawyer I talked to was like, actually, you should rebrand. A million people have had this idea before you. So I was like, sure, we'll change the name to You Don't Even Like This Show. But for a minute there, I was like, should I just not do Unpopular Opinion anymore? And just.
Yeah. I remember you were mentioning like you kind of like were like, I want to do the music pod and the sports pod and maybe the conspiracy show because a lot of people listen to it.
Yeah. And with Unpopular Opinion, and now You Don't Even Like This Show, because the show hasn't, I mean, the show's changed a lot over the years. It's completely different from what it was. And it's had, I would say we've had eras. Maybe we should do
an eras tour.
Eras tour podcast and just do like 6-hour podcast where each hour is a different era from like our history. So you'll be gone for like 1 second.
Yeah, around the 1/3 mark, I will just have a 40-minute. Yeah, right. That first hour would just be like me, you, and like Brockway or some random name from Cracked.
Yeah, telling jokes we're not proud of anymore.
Yeah,
good times.
Call up somebody that we no longer talk to and ask if they want to come on to the show. Hey, you want to come on to an anniversary show?
The show has gone through so many different changes. Like there was all the Trump stuff when I was at Cracked. And I've been doing it a long time. Like we're now 579 episodes in. And I feel like the name of the show, You Don't Even Like This Show. When I came up with that name, I was pointing that title at the audience. And now it's like pointing at me.
Yeah, like you're not having fun with it anymore.
Yeah, I feel also, like I don't really like this show.
I would like to circle back, Adam. We have to do the Eras episode that you just like, you just like hilariously decided to do, and all I could think of is like, yeah, we actually should do that.
It would be kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, it was sort of like that when you did the final unpops, right?
Yeah,
you know,
and yeah, the final unpops was going to be the final unpops, and I don't know, I wasn't sure how people would take it, and if we just stopped doing it. So I kept doing it as You Don't Even Like This Show. That title comes from You Don't Even Like Sports and You Don't Even Like This Band. You Don't Even Like Sports is the first show that had a title like that.
Yeah. That was a good title.
Yeah, it's a good title for that podcast.
I always say that, like, whenever people ask about like the shows, I'm always like, well, I do a show called You Don't Even Like Sports. It's a sports podcast for people that don't even like sports. And they're like, that's a great name for it. I'm like, I know. Remember, we're going to name it Sports by Huey Lewis and the News, a podcast about sports. And then Apple's like, no, you're not.
I mean, we didn't even try it with Apple, but that wouldn't have worked. No, we would have got super duper sued. And yeah, like
Suey Lewis in the News or Huey sue us.
And the sports pod and the band pod are two things that I want to lean into more a little in 2025. I want to make them a more public thing, still with bonus episodes and whatnot. But both of those shows have mostly been behind paywalls this whole time. And they're so good. They're so good. Why why keep them locked up like that? But as far as You Don't Even Like This Show, like I said, it feels like the title is about me now, and I'm just not having fun doing it. So here's the plan, and I hope the people who hear this are good with this plan, because I still have to eat, and me and Jeff have to pay our bills and things. So I'm going to keep You Don't Even Like This Show going until the 100th episode, because I am a maniac when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've been sending cards to PSA to get graded. Jeff, I cannot send them an amount of cards that does not end in 0 or 5.
Oh, really? Yeah. It's just like the OCD of it.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
can't.
OCD is actually the most undiagnosed like mental disorder and like of humans, I'm guessing, but Americans have like a version of it somewhere.
Yeah, I'm bad about that stuff. I need even numbers. When I was listening to, when we were all doing iPods, if I had an album on my iPod that didn't have the album art, I couldn't listen to it. I had to go in and fix that and put the album art in.
Oh,
If there
really?
were like typos in the titles, I would not listen to it until I could fix that.
So if you got them off LimeWire,
Yeah. So I'm weird about that. So You Don't
I
Even
don't
Like
think
This
that's that
Show.
weird.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of issues in my life, it's way, way down the list in terms of things that I would ever even want to try to fix. It's just like, it's a thing about me. It's fine. So I want to keep You Don't Even Like This Show going until the 100th episode. But not only as a replacement for that, but even before You Don't Even Like This Show goes away, we are bringing back the Monday show.
What? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Monday Show.
This is the Wolf Man checking in on the Monday show. I miss the structure of the Monday show. If people have never listened to it, I think episodes are still out there somewhere. But we had, different segments and things that we would do. And there was, a format to it. And it was me and Jeff and a third person. And this time it's going to be me and Jeff. I think I'm also going to, much like the 500th episode of Unpopular Opinion, episodes of the Monday show will be me and Jeff primarily. And then I'm going to record like segments with other people to tag on to them.
Oh, look at that. Like man on the street stuff. We should get like an interviewer to go like to do like man on the street interviews with like criminals and stuff. Go to where
Sure.
there's crimes and just have them interview people.
I was thinking we have comedians entrap pedophiles online, and then we confront them with our smartphones and upload that to YouTube, and then we pod about
And
it.
then we
That's
get
a possible
murdered
segment.
by a high standing member of society.
That could happen. That could happen. That would be entertaining pod. But yeah, if people aren't familiar with the Monday show, go listen to it. It was, I don't know. I don't want to say it was like a morning radio show.
Well, we purposefully toned it that way, even though it wasn't like,
and
there wasn't the goal. It's just like shows. Actually, this is important to know because I think a lot of people, when they listen to a podcast, they don't, especially if they start listening in the middle, they don't like really realize the evolution of it. So they might go back and listen to a very early episode and be like, this is so different.
Yes.
And Tom and Jeff Watch Batman's like that. Obviously, Unpopular Opinion was like that. Monday show definitely did develop to having that sort of like, morning radio thing. And we had Raquel on the show as well, who, for better or worse, I think did a good job for most parts until the whole thing exploded. But like, I do like the idea of bringing, like when you sent that to me, I was like, oh,
yeah, I think it is a good way for me to keep in touch with the roots of what Unpopular Opinion is and what it was, but just doing it in a way that I feel like I will find more interesting and satisfying in terms of the work I'm doing. And I'm really excited because it's, that was one of the first podcasts we ever did once the network launched.
Started.
I'm so much better now at podcasts. So
right.
there's going to be upgrades and updates to it. And I think people will like how it's going to turn out. We haven't even recorded an episode yet.
No, we haven't. And this is actually, I'm actually going to do something interesting too, is we're going to talk a little bit about segments. And we're actually going to, well, hold on, so check this out. But first and foremost, I do want to say a big shout out to producers, right? Adam, sure. I have producers. I have people that pay a very decent amount of money. And when I say decent, I mean, as in it's not that much, but it helps pay my bills. And if you head on over to patreon.com/JeffMay, not only can you get early access to uncensored episodes with bonus content of this show, as well as early access to shows like Nerd and exclusives like Ugh Fine with Kim Crawl, Jake Plummer's #1 fan. And on top of that, too, big shout out. And we're going to be very, very excited to give a big shout out to a name that I'm sure I'm going to get a message to change now, because it's the Jolly Holly Christmas Fools Wandering Unpierced Left Nipple Cider served at room temperature. Fa la 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 la.
Leave that name all year.
I mean, it has stayed. It does get seasonal, but we always know there's some kind of beverage coming out of a nipple.
Yeah, nice.
Which I'm not against if my Google searches are need anything to be understood. What?
Gross.
A big shout out to, call me Sean or whatever. A big shout out to Funky J Mostly comes out at night. Mostly.
Is he British then?
Ever see Aliens?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Are you a fan of the franchise, or are you just like, I like those first 2 movies and then the rest are not great? Or
I have not really seen an Alien movie I didn't like, but I don't know that I've seen them all.
Yeah, probably not, if that is your response, if I'm being 100% honest.
Yeah, I'm not a student of the Alien franchise, but
the Ridleyverse.
Yeah, I do appreciate the films. I want to see the most recent one. I haven't yet.
I haven't yet either. I need to. I'll come down. We'll watch it. We'll open cards and watch it.
Do it.
Actually, that sounds
cards good. While we watch it.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Be fun. Yeah, actually, my friend Matt just sent me a video that was like very pertinent to my specific interests, but it's the fight at the end of Aliens where she's in the power loader, but it's to smack my up by the Prodigy. And I'm just like, well, this is just a video someone made for me specifically. That's fine. A big shout out to, I'm going to start calling Yoda Old Grogu just to see what happens. A big shout out to Sweet Keel. A big shout out to the Oatmeal Savage. I think I might get into oatmeal more this year.
I tried one of those high protein oatmeals recently. Wasn't a fan.
Oh, like a Kodiak kind of a thing.
I think it was Kodiak.
Kodiak. They love pushing that it's high protein.
It had maple rocks in it. It's the best way I can describe it.
No.
Yeah.
I like an overnight oat. So one thing I do miss about one of my exes, she made a good overnight oat.
I've never tried them, but they're intriguing.
You put a little, you soak them, obviously, right? You soak the oats in the whatever milk.
Obviously, Jeff.
Obviously you do that. But then it was like Greek yogurt and then a bunch of blueberries and shit, and then peanut butter and then little honey. I mean.
That sounds all right. Yeah. I would.
Come on, Adam. Why do you keep saying you hate this? It's so good.
No, I was saying I hate you.
Oh, that's fair. Watch me use these prehensile nipples to pick up pennies off the floor. So much nipple talk. Check out this month's Nerd with Dre and Jeff. We are starting a new season, and we are still trying to figure out how to name it. Adam, you did the wonderful G.I. Joe Real American Hero.
I did.
Episode. Who was your favorite character? You bought the Destro. You bought a toy on that during that episode.
I did.
You bought the Pimp Destro.
Yeah. Destro and Snake Eyes.
You like Snake Eyes, yeah.
My faves. Snake Eyes especially.
Hell yeah. I mean, damn right? I think we're doing something with comics, so that's funny. Shout out to that scene in Lost City where Brad Pitt dies. A big shout out to Aldo Vargas is adding Jeff Has Cool Friends producer to his resume. You can all do that. I will vouch.
Yeah.
I will lie to I'll lie to the president for you.
Yeah. Let a staffing service call. Jeff has your back.
Let's do it. I'll be like Vanda May Industries.
Yeah. Going to one of those day laborer places, getting yourself a podcast producer gig.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Anybody want to? Probably it's one like little nerdy guy sitting there with a laptop. Oh, that's me.
Yeah. No, I came to carry carpet upstairs.
Yeah, I was actually supposed to be hanging out outside of the Staples, not the Home Depot. Shout out to Burrito, my best friend. Shout out to Mr. Billy Beck. Shout out to the To Be Terror Buddy thinks you should watch the Puss in Boots sequel. It's surprisingly good.
It is.
I have not seen it yet, but I've heard it's great.
It's very good. Yeah.
Shout out to Lemming Malloy, David Knife Boot Hinson, Bobby Opulent, Norm from Cheers, Dan Hackroyd, and of course, my wonderful and amazing friend Julie at Black Tulip Massage.
I love how enduring Knife Boot has been.
That's been around since the halcyon days.
It's from an episode of Best Bad Movie Ever about Roadhouse.
Really? And so that's where that name comes from. So a big shout out to David Knife Boot Hinson for doing a Best Bad Movie Ever throwback.
Knife Boot.
I was really excited to see this name show up on the producers because I'd always hear him on the stuff with Tom and Dave, and I'd be like, "Oh, I want that name. I want that. I want to say that name out loud." Adam, so we had like categories on the Monday show, like we had segments, right?
Yes.
We had like grave dancing, which was to celebrate the loss or death of something or somebody.
See, this is why we gotta do the Monday show again. That's so fun.
Yeah, and it was like the music was like a little like Roomba music, not Roomba like robot vacuum.
Yeah,
cleaner, but
that's the thing. I don't know if like I'm gonna have to source that music again. I might have to hit the listeners up to figure out music for the segments. I don't know if it's as freewheeling as it used to be back then, where I could just go on Free Music Archive and download anything by the Juanitos and use it freely on any podcast. They perform the, you don't need the show theme song, Octopussy.
So we had that. We had, it's been a while. I mean, what the last time we did the show was what, 2017?
Yeah. And I assume we'll come up with new segments.
Yeah. Well, that was actually kind of one of the things that I wanted to do with you here is talk about what kind of segments we want. And I'm going to open this up to comments. Let us know in the comments if there's a segment or some kind of an idea that you have that you think we should use. We will take it, and then we will not give you credit.
Yeah, we'll take it, and then we'll twist it a little bit so it seems like it came from me and Jeff, and then we'll use it on the show, and you'll have the satisfaction of knowing you got jacked.
You got jacked up by a couple of badass PCers. That's podcasters for you.
Hell yeah. PC culture out of control. I assume they mean podcast. When people
podcasting. Well, to be fair, Adam, podcasting culture is absolutely out of control.
That's putting it mildly. Yeah.
Jamie, can you look up podcasting culture?
So segments. I do want to bring some of the old ones back. For sure.
What are
grave dancing? That was
grave dancing is the one I remember the most because I think that's the one we got the most fights out of.
Yeah, there was one called "If I Was King," where we, in response to a news story, propose a new law. Which I think my favorite one from that segment ever, because we did it on the early episodes of Unpopular Opinion, because the Monday show is what Unpopular Opinion was.
Kind of was at the beginning,
First, we would do these segments that were based on various news stories. There was like intro music. It was all very fun and bouncy. And it eventually changed. But then when we launched a network and me and Jeff were trying to figure out a show to do, I was like, oh, let's just go back doing that and call it the Monday show. So we're really going back to the roots.
Yeah.
Bringing back the Monday show.
Which I think is going to be, I think a lot of people are going to be very happy. I know people will tell me that they miss the Monday show. Like people still are like, I really miss the Monday show. Because it was how they would start. They were like, that's how I like to start. And I'm like, well, yeah, but you don't even like this show, is there? It's like, yeah, I know, and I love it, but it's just, I think it's also just like, yeah, but that was, before the country had fully fallen to shit, and so I'm remembering it very well.
Yeah. And that's kind of the thing. direction this country went in from 2016 on really, really influenced the direction of unpopular opinion. And you don't even like this show. And I don't know. I just kind of want to get away from that a little
like
bit.
we shouldn't have a segment called like, is this fascism?
Yeah, we'll definitely still talk about politics and things of the like. It's just, did we not have? No, maybe not. I know I always wanted to start a podcast called The Latest Fashion, but spell it FASCIN with an apostrophe at the end, and just make it about all the fascism happening in the world. So maybe The Latest Fashion will be a new segment on the Monday show.
I came up with a couple of
All
ideas.
Right. Run them by me. This is fun.
Okay.
I'm gonna
so one category is called, do I kind of want to eat this? And what it is something happens in the news. Doesn't matter what it is. And we answer whether or not we might kind of want to eat it. So if you're just like, oh, there's something really going on with this, this new, a new horse has been discovered in Sweden. And it's like, do I kind of want to eat this?
I mean, if that's how they're making them meatballs at IKEA, which is,
ooh, buddy,
that was the rumor at one point. And here's the thing, just be honest.
When that was the rumor, I was just like, I guess we need to make horse meat more legal then.
Yeah. I guess I enjoy a horse meatball was my reaction to that story.
We're like one of the only countries it's like, you can't eat horse. And it's like, why? It's because we put it in movies. And I'm like, what moral decision has a horse made that a cow was not able to make? Get off your high horse on what animals you'll eat.
Yeah. I've heard octopus is one.
I won't eat octopus, to be fair,
because they're very smart.
Yeah.
Things.
I think I've said this before, but like, I remember watching, it was like a documentary or an interview with like a marine biologist. And he was talking about like animals you shouldn't eat. He's like, well, first off, you should be minimizing commercial fish purchases because commercial fishing is destroying the world, but whatever, people have to eat. And then they're like, well, is there anything you wouldn't eat? And it's like octopus. They're too smart. They know exactly what's happening. It's cruel to eat them. And they're like, oh, so like same with like squid and like calamari. He's like, no, those guys. Like he was just basically like, no, squid are ass. Yeah. But that was really interesting.
Yeah, that is approved.
Oh, hey, hell yeah. Another one is called, am I too old for this? Something that has hit and is now popular might be a fashion trend or a musician or a film and or like a genre. It could be like the MCU, right? Marvel movies. And then I'd be like, am I too old for this?
The answer is usually going to be yes, I think.
Kind of, but maybe not. Like if somebody's like Sabrina Carpenter, you'd be like, I do not think I am too old for this.
Yeah, I have an Olivia Rodrigo wall calendar positioned right above my shoulder.
So. You like that thing so much, you haven't even changed it over.
Well, I'm going to be honest. I thought she would make a 2025 calendar, and it just, apparently this was a one-time deal. So now I got to find a calendar that works with the motif back here.
A purple calendar.
Yeah.
Fair. Somebody send out him a purple calendar.
No, don't. I'll find my own calendar. Thank you. You can send me one.
But. Yeah, send out him a. I got a calendar. I got an Olivia calendar, the pinup artist, because she's a friend. She sends me she used to do all like the pinups and Playboy and stuff. But also like it's a very horny calendar. So I'm always just like, I love having this calendar, but also it's a little horny.
All right.
All right. Another one is, should they get hit by a car? Where you kind of discuss whether or not you would feel bad if this person accidentally got hit by a car.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we do a variation of that all the time anyway, without giving a name to it. So why not?
Yeah. Those were I realized that they were very like targeted and specific things, but like as I was looking through, I was like, I like the idea that I like the question idea. Like, do I want to see this? Right. Yeah. Remember, actually, you know what? Do you remember we did an offshoot podcast in 2014 called Convince Me?
Yeah.
And it was I actually really liked that job. We like abandoned the format very quickly,
Yes,
but
we only did one episode.
and it was like me convincing you to see movies that were coming out, right? Like
Yeah.
superhero movies, I think. And it was like Guardians of the Galaxy, which I was like, I know it seems like you don't want to see this, but you definitely do. And I was right. Cat
Yes.
2, which I had already seen and was like, you're going to want to see this. I already saw it. Then it was like Sin City 2. And we
That
both were like, I
sucked.
want to see that. And that movie was a nightmare.
Very bad.
It was a very, but it was like a bunch of stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that was really fun.
Yeah. We could do something like that again. I know we did a segment for a while called White People.
Fucking white people.
Oof. That was fun.
Yeah.
Do that again.
We could do that again. What I mean, so like what? Yeah, like because the world is so different now. It's been 8 years since we last. Well, it was 6. I mean, 7 years, right? I mean, it's like
Yeah.
whatever. So like, what do we do? Like, what do we? How do we shift that? How do we make that? How do we bring it in? Or do we just listen to an old episode and be like, well, let's do this with a very specific adjustment?
Right. Yeah. I'm hoping I still have notes from old episodes
Oh yeah, right.
that I can just pull up. But I feel like at some point I went through, because I just have a huge Google Drive with notes for all the shows, but I feel like I went and deleted a bunch of them for shows that were inactive. So who knows if they're still there.
I see. Looks like you might have deleted them only because I went into my. I'll look up the most. So
I was going to say, what are you on my Google Drive right now?
No, I just searched the Monday show in my Gmail.
Oh, sure.
And it says that the file has been deleted on the most recent. So the last one that we did is November 4th, 2017. And like they're all gone.
Yeah.
So whoops.
Is that the notes from what was going to be the last episode, I wonder? Because we did record a little bit of a last
recorded
episode.
one. Yeah. And then it had voicemails. That was an advice episode. We
well,
haven't done advice episodes in a long time.
Well, we turned that into a whole podcast.
Yeah, help me, right? Or
no, it was called If You Got a Problem. And I remember Raquel came up with that name because she thought it was the line from Ice Ice Baby, which is actually if there was a problem. Yo, I'd solve it. Check out the hook while the DJ revolves it.
I think that would be a great section to bring in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that. So ask for advice now, everybody.
Yeah. And we could, we could go back to doing voicemails. We could bring back Your Voice Matters.
Where we hear your stupid comments
and respond to them
personally. So that's and it's really one of those things too, where just like when you were talking about this and I was like, I think this is a really good idea. And I think it's also a really good idea just for your own edification. And so we're not feeling stagnant.
Yeah. I mean, the podcast is going to be better if I'm happy doing it.
Yeah. Was there at all a drop when the name shifted from Unpopular Opinion to You Don't Even Like This Show?
Not really. There was a drop when we started talking about Israel. And apparently there are people out there who are not getting our podcast now that Google Podcasts shut down. It's like, they're not the only ones, right?
Yeah, there's lots of, it is fascinating to me when I made the mistake of looking at all of last year's canceled subs on my Patreon.
All of them? Like in one sitting?
Yeah, because you have that like review section on Patreon.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and the amount of people that it was just like Patreon had like a credit card processing problem once. And it was just a bunch of people who just that happened. It was like it all says card declined. It's all people I know very personally. And I'm just watching it and I'm just like, oh, so there's like several $100s of people that just didn't care to fix that problem. That was a bummer.
Yeah, that sucks.
Whoops. That's why I'm so grateful for everyone else here.
Yeah. And I'm grateful for all of the people who have stuck around for as long as they have. And I am really excited to I mean, it feels like we're doing something brand new, but it's really, we're just doing the thing we started doing back before Donald Trump and Ace of Base changed my life.
Yeah. It's like A Star Is Born. Everyone's like, I can't wait for this new thing to come out. And you're like,
Yeah.
well, Chris Christopherson did it better.
Never seen that one.
Yeah. And Barbara Streisand, right?
I think so.
What a team.
That is a tandem right there.
Go to either of those concerts.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know if I'd go to a Barbara Streisand concert. Doesn't appeal to me.
Probably not. You never know, though. I dated a girl once when I lived in South Dakota, and her mom was way into Cher and Cher was coming to Sioux Falls, and she wanted to go, but no one would go with her. And I was like, I'll take your mom to see Cher. Why would I not just see Cher? Free tickets? Yeah, I'll go see Cher. Jeff, it ruled. Cher was so good in concert. And here's the thing. The Village People opened. How much fun do you think that concert was? It was a blast.
You and the mom get super high?
I got super high.
When was this? Was this the post-Believe era?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So she'd already had her resurgence.
Yes. She was pretty huge again by then. And I actually became I was mostly unaware of her music up to that point. And she's got some bangers.
It's like anthem pop.
Yeah.
It's like,
she's got a song called Just Like Jesse James. That's such a banger.
She always seemed like, and I don't know if this is fair, but effortlessly doing what Madonna was clearly trying hard to do.
Yeah, Madonna she's one of my enemies in this world. I have
official enemy of the pod.
Yeah, I have. That would be a good segment.
Enemies of the pod. You know, I had one on Sideshow. The first ever enemy of the pod was Tom York because he stole Portugal the Man's space on one of the Twilight soundtracks.
Oh.
At the last minute, they were going to be the main song. And then he rolled in and was like, actually, I want to do it.
No, I thought you were going to say
Zach was on. Huh?
I thought you were going to say it's because of all the Israel stuff.
Oh, well, I don't even. What's going on?
They're apparently very pro-Israel. Logan Trent posted a thing on because there was a story about it, and Logan posted a link, and the caption said, "ACAB includes Karma Police."
That's perfect.
It's a good joke.
That's I think Logan and Randall might be two of the most secretly funny people. Like the two people that are just consistently hilarious that don't get enough credit for it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. David Bell too. I mean, I
think he gets the credit for it.
Yeah.
He's got a unique.
David
has a very unique sense of humor. Yeah,
and Tom too. Not you. You suck.
No, but I think Tom and I are very similar, and actually, you and I kind of similar. Whenever I get to work with Dave individually, like we did a break together, like an X-Files break, and it is fun to see that pony out of the barn and to see what he does when there's like no governor on him and just like no Tom to like reel him in or whatever. It's
when people stop getting polite and start getting
real.
Hell yeah.
The Dave world.
Hell yeah. Shout out to Dave.
Shout out to David Bell. But that was Zach. Zach did it was on the Sideshow podcast. And he revealed that. And I was like, we have an official enemy of the pod. So there's a new segment, Enemy of the Pod. Are you writing this down?
I like it.
All right.
No, I'm not writing this down.
Oh, okay.
I'll remember it all. My memory is a steel trap.
I really liked the idea of, do I want to eat it?
Yeah.
Because also there's so much stuff that comes out in fast food.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's there. Like they just re-released the Taco Bell menu, the Decades menu or whatever.
Oh, my wife is psyched.
Is she? Because like there's a lot of stuff where they're like, we brought this back from the 70s. I'm like, I don't want to eat it.
You should check some of it out. The Mexi Melt. That's
Remember when they brought back the Mexican pizza for a little bit and then everyone had to face the harsh reality that it was bad?
Not good.
They're
I go to at Taco Bell of late and for years, kind of bean burrito. They make the best bean burrito in fast food.
Good vegetarian option too.
Yeah. Get it without the onion. Ugh.
Oh, that texture seems awful to me without
Yeah.
though. Like just eating like a roll of mush.
No, it's great. It's great.
Yeah. My order and like so obviously texture is clearly very different for us because my thing that I get every time I'm like really feeling Taco Bell, which is rare, maybe once every couple of months, a cheesy gordita crunch with 2 packets of fire sauce. The cheesy gordita crunch, in my opinion, might be one of the best tasting fast food items that's ever existed.
That's a bold statement.
I stand by it, man. It is back when when they used to have the Doritos fire taco.
That was good.
You get that. You get a cheesy gordita crunch with the fire taco. This thing's up. This is like $6 at Taco Bell when you add those caveats. But man, you trying to tell me that a Mexican street taco is going to touch the flavor palette, the insane flavor palette of a cheesy gordita crunch? Sorry.
Probably not.
No, I'm sorry. I know you love tiny bits of meat, cilantro, and slivers of chopped onion.
Half a pound of raw onion. Yeah.
Yeah. On a tiny little tortilla that explodes in the middle when you try to eat it. But
yeah, it's an unpopular stance of mine, but I'm like tacos and burritos both are not really my first choice in terms of like I very rarely am like burritos. Go get a burrito. Like I'm an enchilada guy.
Yeah, so you're like a sit down. An enchilada you can't really eat on the go.
I don't eat on the go that often.
No. I'm going a lot more, I guess.
Like a burrito you eat on the go? That's nuts.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's the whole. You just get to sit there. Remember, though, I have massive hands and a big mouth.
Are we talking on the go as in driving?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I try not to eat while I'm I mean, I don't drive right now, but yeah, I don't eat in the car that much. So that's not a concern.
Well, sometimes some of us have to drive an hour and a half to get to other places. And sometimes we want to put a big burrito in our hands and a wall.
Do you have to or do you want to, Jeff?
Yes.
That wasn't an answer.
Yes.
You didn't.
I do. It is funny. Like we're recording this like kind of like right before dinner time. So I am kind of like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, I could go for a surf and turf burrito from Cilantro Mexican Grill right now.
Oh, that place. Come on.
Miss it, Adam?
I haven't been there in years.
Every time I have a meeting with my good friend David Igo, I'll go to his place. He's like, hey, you want to stop and grab burritos on the way? I'll pay. Like he wants me to, because they're just so good.
Yeah,
that is a good.
That place.
What's do you have a McRib this year?
I had a few. McRibs.
Yeah, I had one and it was very lackluster. The sauce was minimal.
Oh yeah, I don't like that.
The onions were like thickly cut, a little too thick.
See, I've given up on ordering it plain because I tried that once and they gave it to me without even sauce. It was just the meat patty, no sauce. But then I still also get lectured when I don't say plain, if I say no onions, no pickles. So I've taken to just ordering it regular and I flick those onions off. Oof.
I think it would do better with their weird dehydrated onions.
Maybe.
I like those onions a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
I think the McDonald's cheeseburger onions are a very underrated thing that exists.
The McDonald's
rip.
The McDonald's cheeseburger, man, it's a lot like the Beatles, where as a unit, really great, but you get them into their individual parts, results are going to vary. Like George Harrison's going to be like the meat. Then like you don't want to eat those onions on your own. Like,
unless they're in ketchup. If they're in ketchup, it's all right. If they're in like a little blob that you got on your finger or something, you eat it. That's fine. The pickles I with alone.
Well, I mean, those are pickles.
So good.
Yeah, pickles. You can eat pickles solo dolo for sure.
I do like that. I used to eat a lot of it. I used to have to drink pickle juice before a fight.
Gross.
No, I mean it's like super hyper Gatorade.
Yeah, no, I know, but it's just I don't want to drink it.
That's why whenever I started seeing picklebacks being a thing. I was like, oh, because of dehydration. It's a good way to prevent a hangover.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. How was your holiday?
It was good, very low key.
Yeah.
Didn't do much. Had the Friends Miss that you attended, but that
Yeah.
was a little earlier.
Yeah. That was December 14th.
And then Christmas, I went and saw the Bob Dylan movie,
Yeah.
which is fantastic. Timothy Chalamet should win an Oscar for that. And had Chinese food.
Oh, nice. Historic.
Yeah, we went to a really good Chinese place
Yeah.
in Torrance. It was great.
Yeah. I never really got that back home. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that there weren't people that were not celebrating Christmas. Like I understand like Chinese food very historically done, especially out in places like here on Christmas for like Jewish families and stuff like people that don't celebrate. Not a very diverse space that I'm from.
Right.
So that wasn't like getting Chinese food on Christmas was never really a thing.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a thing for me as a kid,
Yeah.
but
No.
as an adult, it's like independent of what other people are doing on Christmas. I just know Chinese places are open on Christmas.
Yeah.
Probably because they're all a bunch of godless communists. Am I right, Jeff?
Let's get them. Do I kind of want to eat them?
Yeah, I just it actually for me more started when I lived in South Dakota. My ex-girlfriend would go to her parents' place for Thanksgiving, and I was thankful that I didn't have to and would instead just stay home and watch football all day. But at 5 p.m., the Indian restaurant in town would open on Thanksgiving, and I would have Indian food. For about 5 years there, I had Indian food on Thanksgiving every time. And that, I mean, it's fun. Like, especially if you're not doing anything for Christmas, go out, be with the people.
That sounds magical. I ended up going to Lisa's place, to my friend Lisa's, and we just did nothing. Just put on some random stuff. I brought over the pot pie from my pot pie lady.
Sure.
It was a curried chicken pot pie. Have I told you about that? That I got a pot pie lady and she's incredible.
I think you have. I don't go in for a fancy pot pie.
I don't normally.
I like a basic ass pot pie.
I'm not a pot pie guy, and yet every pot pie I've gotten from this lady has been unbelievable.
I love a pot pie.
I'm telling all it is it's just a standard pot pie, but it's got a little curry paste in there, little yellow curry paste. It gives it a tiny zest, but it's still the exact ingredients of a pot pie.
People are going to hate this, but my favorite pot pie is a banquet frozen pot pie.
Sometimes that's, yeah, I mean, I don't see the problem with that.
And here's the thing. You cut a slit in the top of it, put it in the microwave for a couple minutes more than it says you should.
Yeah.
And that crust is going to get brown and chewy and
yeah. I liked there was a while that I was eating like I thought like getting those like the Weight Watchers paninis and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, it's like diet food. And then you look at it and you're like, that's not really like this is kind of a weird scam, but that's fine.
Well, remember the Stop the Insanity diet?
Oh, Susan Powder, yeah.
Yeah, Susan Powder, her whole thing was, hey, eat less than 20 grams of fat and you'll be fine. And all of like, remember Snackwells?
Was like such a big deal.
Yeah, they were like 0 grams of fat, eat as many as you want.
Oh, remember Twizzlers were marketed as a 0 fat snack. And you're just like, excuse me, that's because you are only sugar. You have no room for fat. What are they going to dip you in beef tallow?
Yeah. And it's like eventually people realize, no, it's more calories that you got to worry about.
It's a lot of carbs because remember Atkins followed that. I remember I was watching, was it The Dark Side of the 90s? They did a thing on infomercials.
Oh, yeah.
And Susan Powder's on there. And buddy, if I recall correctly, she's looking good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she looks great.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Good for her.
I mean, she did go through all the stuff that she said. Like all of her stuff was very real about like the exercising and eating better, I guess. But I think Americans love hearing something and then twisting it in a way that makes it easier. When they're like, oh, I eat less fat. Okay, so yeah, I'll just eat like a whole bunch of bread.
Well, even with, you mentioned the Atkins diet, that eventually turned into, oh, what are you having for breakfast? Pound of bacon.
Oh, that's not a good idea. Yeah,
It's
but I'm
like
losing weight.
it's like you're gonna lose weight, but
But also, you're gonna die.
yeah,
Like, yeah, bacon is one of those things where like I love it. It's so good, but like after like if I have more than 4 or 5 pieces in a week, I'm like, this is probably a really bad idea.
yeah, I'll buy it. I'm a BLT for dinner guy sometimes. So I'll buy a pack of bacon, make a couple BLTs for me and the wife, and then next morning knock it out with some bacon and eggs, and then don't get bacon again for another month or so.
Yeah. I love bacon and eggs. Bacon and eggs is a perfect meal, perfect breakfast.
It's so great. It's
Oh,
so great.
so perfect. Shout out to the bacon people for really buying into that.
Oh, and we've been getting these farmers market eggs lately with the
Same.
like electric orange
Yeah,
yolk.
like Crayola orange, right?
Oof.
Oh, I
So
love
it looks
those
like the
things. Yeah.
sun.
Yeah. No, that's I do the same.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's from the same vendor.
This place we go to at the Torrance Farmers Market is massive. And they have, it's the only place, I shit you not, there's always, I'd say 20 to 30 people in line at
Yeah.
any given time. Like, I don't know why they need to go anywhere else. It's crazy.
Hmm.
Good eggs. You got to wash them before you crack them.
I could see that. Yeah, because they're unwashed when you get them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't wash them before I crack them, but
That's
I'll
why you
probably
have
get
salmonella now.
bird flu or some Yeah.
Yeah, it'll pass.
Yeah. It's fine. I'm strong. I can beat up a
Yeah,
disease that wrecks my soft baby innards.
just take some Paxlovid or something.
Yeah. You know what I saw recently is I saw somebody be like, I make the best grilled cheese. And I'm like, I'd love to hear more about this best grilled cheese. And then they start naming all the ingredients, and I'm like, no, that is a melt. They're
Oh,
like, I make a grilled cheese. So, and then I put just a little bit of prosciutto in there. And then I actually will take some wild greens and I will kind of toss them in a little vinegar and then you cook them and then and I'm just like, you're making a that's not a grilled
sandwich.
cheese.
Yeah,
That's not a grilled cheese. If you put tomato on a grilled cheese, it's no longer a grilled cheese.
it's a tomato sandwich.
It is a grilled tomato and cheese sandwich. Grilled cheese, if you, I'll accept you can put like a topping on a grilled cheese. If you're like, oh, it's cheese and like I put this little olive tapenade on it. And
Sure.
I'll be like, sure, that's fine.
Yeah,
But
I had a grilled cheese that had a little bit of fig jam on it once, and that was good.
that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But when everyone's like, I made a grilled cheese and I put these 2 beef patties in there. And I'm like, I think you made a patty melt.
Yeah. Yeah, you just made a burger.
I like a patty melt though.
I don't.
Really?
Well, for one thing, I don't like onions,
Oh yeah, you are a bad person.
but also when I was a kid, there was a restaurant in Northwoods Mall in Peoria, Illinois called the Skewer Inn. And at one point, I think it was a kid died of salmonella poisoning.
Huh.
And it was because he ate a patty melt and the onions they used on the patty melt had been sitting out for way, 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 way too long. And it might have killed 2 people. But ever since then, I've associated patty melt with death.
That's how I feel about Jack in the Box. Because wasn't there like a big problem with Jack in the Box in the mid 80s or something like that?
Yeah. But also Chipotle, and no one gives a shit.
No one gives a shit about Chipotle because they think it's good.
Yeah, it's not. It's not.
It's really like what are you doing, folks? What are you doing?
I think I've eaten at Chipotle 3 times, maybe. It sucks.
It's
bad.
just, well, you know what it is? It's somehow even worse because it's just decidedly average. And anything that gets that amount of pump off of being so aggressively average is so weird to me.
And what's frustrating is they have a competitor that is so much better called Qdoba, and you just never see it anywhere.
Qdoba Express, man. Oh, I love a Qdoba.
Those Qdoba soft chicken tacos. Oh, and they got that runny ass sour cream.
Yeah.
It's
Qdoba.
like,
Yeah, it's a crema that they have.
Yeah.
It's really great. And it comes in the squeeze bottle.
Yeah, I guess crema is what they call it.
Yeah.
Sure.
I also like Qdoba more because they'll bring a shrimp to the table. You can get shrimp. My mouth whistled when I said shrimp. I was so excited.
They got a good chips and queso at Qdoba.
You know who has really good chips and queso? And I'm not even a big queso fan. Chili's.
Oh, I bet. Sure.
Chili's has a nice little zesty queso that I always really liked.
Chili's never did anything to anybody.
No, Chili's is one of those Applebee's X things where like I always consider Applebee's to be like a base restaurant, like the base casual dining restaurant. And then all the other chains are like an Applebee's, but with this twist.
Yeah.
Like Chili's to me is Tex-Mex Applebee's. Olive Garden is Italian Applebee's. That kind of stuff.
Yeah. And Chili's is super proud of their ribs, even though they don't have any right to be. They're just
back ribs.
basic
Yeah. They were really just mostly proud of that song.
That song Chi-Chi's is coming back?
I did see that. It's like they didn't realize that it failed.
I mean, I wasn't mad at Chi-Chi's. I like a sit-down Mexican place.
Their salsa is still getting made though, right? Like Chi-Chi salsa was like a really, really popular brand, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Or did they disappear like Chicken Tonight?
They had that fried ice cream, Chi-Chi's.
You know what? Actually, now that I think about it, I believe Chi-Chi's, there's like a thread on an episode of Young Rock that takes place in a Chi-Chi's.
Oh, yeah.
You ever watch Young Rock?
I never watched it.
Surprisingly, a charming and fun sitcom.
I think Chi-Chi's also had a salmonella issue or thing where they killed a bunch of people, and that's what sent them out of business. But hey,
if that's going to happen, then most restaurants in the next 4 years are going to be out of business because the amount of safety nets that we're getting for the health and inspection of food is going to drop precipitously.
Yeah.
Deregulation is bad.
It's going to be a wild ride, America.
Yeah. Careful where you eat, folks.
And tune in to hear me and Jeff talk about, do we want to eat that food?
Yeah. Do I want to eat that? Here we have a regular burger where you bought the meat at a Ralph's. I'm not going to eat that.
Yeah. Not anymore.
See, there's a big thing about like the big raw milk fight lately where like RFK is trying to get raw. And like a doctor was just like, look, raw milk isn't about how you can process it fine 99% of the time. It's what it's going to do that other 1%.
Yeah.
Like the lives saved by Louis Pasteur are countless. Man,
yeah.
that woo-woo juju Robert Kennedy style thing where they equate health with luck, or they equate their luck with their health is insane to me.
Yeah. It reminds me of the thing I say about sharks all the time when I tell people I don't around in the ocean because of sharks. And people are like, you got a better chance of getting struck by lightning. It's like, yeah, because I'm on land for one thing, and the sharks are in the water. But also, no matter what your chances are, it's only got to happen once. You only got to get bit by a shark one time.
And then you get your own movie. Like the One-Armed Girl.
Or the craziest shark incident I have ever heard. It happened just a couple of years ago. I don't remember where, but these two kids were just in shallow water. And at one point, a shark jumps out of the water.
Oh, and it didn't like bit the kid in half, right?
Bit the kid in half and just swam off with her torso. It's only got to happen once.
Badass.
Only got to happen once.
I'd do a Shoryuken power dragon uppercut on that thing if it came over to me.
I mean, what you're supposed to do, if you can get it on its back and give it some belly scritch, that a shark right up.
I'll give it a DDT. I'll drag it out onto land, see how he fights.
But also, I think you want to like go for punching it in the nose.
Oh, I'm going to punch it in the nose, Adam.
Yeah.
That's the start of Paintown, USA when it comes to a shark coming for me.
Dane Cook had a great bit about a guy who got attacked by a shark and then punched it.
Yeah. Oh, and how much of a bit? That's on Harmful if Swallowed, I believe.
Yeah.
So he came over and he bit me, and so I punched it. Yeah.
Punched shark.
That's it. You mentioned that album, I believe, on the Outtakes episode recently, right? The Harmful if Swallowed, because somebody was kind of poo-pooing Dane Cook as a general comedian, right?
Yeah. I stand by Dane Cook's first two albums. That's it.
Yeah. I like Harmful if Swallowed a little more than Retaliation, but I stand with you. And then he got too big to fail. He wasn't allowed to fail. His crowds wouldn't let him.
Yeah. I mentioned that on the Outtakes. Someone who knows him says he just got so big that people hooting and hollering every joke he tells. So he doesn't know if he was telling good jokes. And
there's a special he did one time where like somebody like heckle interrupted him to like call back to a joke from like several albums ago. And I'll always remember just being like, man, and it was like a Red Sox guy. I think it was in Boston, like probably at the Garden or something like that. I'll just never forget how just, first off, I don't think Dane Cook is a good person. I'm pretty sure he was an ephebophile or whatever they call it, where it's just like a pedophile, but they're slightly older. So you feel smarter because you started dating a child.
Yeah.
50 or whatever. But I always feel like I do sort of understand why he might have gone sour a little bit. I mean, his brother stole like what, 8-9 figures from him or some shit like that. Like 8 figures.
Didn't both of his parents die in very short time?
Yeah.
Also,
I mean, you shouldn't go a kid about it, but yeah, I could understand that. I remember he was a really, of course, now like talk about really toxic look backs now, but like that episode of Louis with Dane on it, and he's just like, yeah, man, you called me a thief because you think you're the only person that's ever had an itchy ass in your life. Like,
yeah.
Instead of allowing for, parallel thinking, you dragged me in front of everybody you've ever met. Both were apparently the worst people.
Yeah.
So good for them.
Yeah, great for them.
I was wrong on the Monday show about Louis C.K. too. I've admitted that. If you remember on the Monday show, I was like, but he asked for consent. I was like, I'm not sure what else he's supposed to do. Like, he sought consent and got it. And to be fair, I was wrong. I was very wrong about that. I did not consider what the power dynamic was at the time. I fully am willing to admit that.
I mean, it happens.
And I'm going to continue to defend him on the Monday show. No, I'm very excited. So do we know when the Monday show might start then? Because I know you said you still got about, like 24 episodes of You Don't Even Like This Show to go?
Yeah, You Don't Even Like This Show. Episode 79 just dropped.
All right. That's us.
So that leaves 21 episodes to go. And the Monday show will be back before You Don't Even Like This Show ends, because I want it to be a smooth and seamless transition.
When are we going to release it? On like Tuesdays?
Yeah, Tuesday nights, I think.
Are you going to compete with yourself? Because You Don't Even Like This Show drops on Mondays too.
Yeah. No, I'll do them both at the same time for a while.
F it.
Yeah. I don't give a shit.
Do a double drop, baby.
Yeah. I have 2 episodes in a day. I don't give a
Eat it.
Watch
Sometimes
me.
that'll happen, and I'm like, and then I'm like, oh wait, who cares? Time's not real.
Yeah.
They'll listen when they want.
But yeah, it'll be back sooner than later. I'm very excited about it. I mean, my favorite version of You Don't Even Like This Show is when we do the local news roundup.
Yeah.
And this feels similar to me in that, like, the research will be a little more focused and easier, as opposed, like, You Don't Even Like This Show has just been so many things.
Yeah.
Including unpopular opinion. And I don't know, I'll be at 600 episodes.
Also, by the way, we can do like throwback episodes. If we want to do an all unpopular opinions episode of the Monday show, we could just do that.
Yeah.
And I'll eat them.
Yeah. I mean, we can do whatever the we want, but
we're so strong.
We are.
We're so strong and powerful.
That's not the only change coming. We got other shows coming that I can't super duper.
Why not? What are you?
Well, one of them is, I think, such a good idea. I don't want.
Oh.
And it wasn't my idea. Another comedian mentioned it on a pod we were doing, just like as an offhand suggestion. I was like, oh.
It's called.
Will you edit it out if I tell you what it's about?
My editor will. Yes.
Okay. And I don't give a shit. People can steal it.
You can play Spanish Flea while he's saying that. Go for it.
It was Rivers Langley's idea, and we're going to do it with me, Rivers, and this lawyer friend of mine named Barb, who's been on the show before. But it's a podcast series about
Oh, like the Unabomber.
Yeah. Like there's so many wild examples. Like one guy went in front. It's nuts.
Oh, yeah. And back from the edit. Hey, everybody. We hope you enjoyed that musical interlude while Adam was giving me a great idea for a podcast that I'm about to release on the Patreon right here. So if you guys folks do want yeah, I'm doing it. So you have more. Are there any vintage pods that you wanted to like come back to? Or
I have thought about bringing back the 90s Sucked.
With Chet Wild. Is he still open
I don't
to
think
that, or is he like I'm actually a healthcare professional now?
I don't know that Chet Wild was into it when we were doing the podcast. Don't think full-time podcasts are his thing anymore. No. We could probably get him on an episode or two.
The 90s did suck, though.
The 90s did suck, and I liked that podcast a lot. I've been thinking about bringing that back. I'm thinking of doing another sort of true crime podcast.
Ooh.
Really. It's
called Pretty Awful.
Yeah.
Pretty Awful. Ow.
Pretty terrifying. Whoa. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things happening.
I'm really into that. I think I love opening cards with you.
It's fun.
I love working with you, for one. And I also love, it is funny that we've gotten to the point now where we feel like we have to like monetize everything.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about it, and I was like when we were opening cards because we bought each other cards for Christmas. And we just opened them, and I don't know did we even record it? We just like,
it's still on my phone.
You did
any of it? Yeah.
Did I record the tennis cards?
I think I recorded the
Breaker's Delight or whatever. What a terrible name for a box, by the way.
Yeah. I think I recorded opening all of the tennis cards, but maybe not. Yeah, I should upload that. I forgot. That's all on my phone.
You don't have to.
Yeah, sometimes we
turn
do stuff.
Content, but sometimes we just like to do stuff.
Just have fun.
Yeah. Like, although, you know what I do love is one of my favorite things to do is to watch the Super Bowl at your place and do a break.
Oh, yeah.
We did a break before or after or both.
I think it was before. I don't remember.
Yeah. We should do that again.
Oh, remember we timed it for like the halftime.
Oh, we made it the halftime show.
Yeah. We did like counter programming.
Yeah.
But then still went and watched the halftime show.
Yeah, how'd that happen?
I don't know.
We'll
Magic. Oh, I know how it happened, because we pre-recorded it and then pretended to do it live.
That's right.
And then we watched the halftime
Let's
show.
do that again.
While a bunch of idiots watched open cards instead of watching Usher deliver one of the most masterful Super Bowl halftime performances in recent memory.
We absolutely. Oh, I do remember that, because we were saying like pretty crazy how that team is winning. Maybe by a blowout, or maybe by not that much, or also it might be tied.
Yeah. And then it glitched out when we tried to upload it. Oh, good times. We're going to pull a fast one on you again this year. Probably.
We're going to fool you, you bunch of damn rubes. Adam, you're on the socials at Adam Tod Brown, ADAMTODBROWN. Remember, that's Todd with 1D.
1D.
Now tell everybody else where they can listen to your stuff. If they somehow don't know while listening to this show.
I mean, anywhere podcasts are at, you can listen to Conspiracy, the show. You Don't Even Like Sports. You Don't Even Like This Band. The documentary pod is going to be public soon with me and Kim Kroll. So you got that to look forward to. Anywhere
podcasts like the one with Kim, is that a regular show, or is it like a one-timer? Or?
Well, I've been doing You Don't Even Like This documentary, and she's been the guest on like the majority of the episodes, I feel like.
Nice.
So she's going to take over as, sometime co-host. We know how it goes with scheduling people. Like, I'm sure there'll be
some people are harder to schedule than others. That's all. They have involved jobs that involve traveling.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
Kimbo's a busy girl.
Hard to get a slice. Kimbo. We made her cry on Christmas. That was fun.
Yeah, that was great.
That was
because
really
we punched her in the ribs. Really,
we took a slice out of Kimbo.
Oh, socked her one good.
Man, just right in the ribs too.
And she cried like a girl. Yeah.
Oh my God, it was hilarious. That's not
But
good. We shouldn't. That's not a good bit.
No, probably not.
Not a great bit.
Yeah, we beat the shit out of her.
We beat her. We beat her pretty bad.
Funny stuff.
Bugged her, took her wallet, drove her car off the bridge.
Used her debit card.
It was a funny prank.
That's how we bought the cards we opened.
Yeah, we used the debit card to buy cards.
Yeah.
That we could open. Yeah, let's do a break. Let's do a Super Bowl break. A super break, if you will.
A super break. I'm all for it.
Super break. Super break. That's a song.
But this time we're going to do it live, and we're not going to watch Kendrick Lamar's halftime show at all. No.
What an assault on Drake that is.
Yeah.
He's going to shrivel up into a corn cob. Adam, so we're going to check all that out. Of course, if you want to follow the You Don't Even Like Sports YouTube page where you can watch those breaks, I believe it's at You Don't Sports.
Yes.
Is that correct?
And my solo podcast at In Broad Daylight, which you can get wherever podcasts are at, or at YouTube. It's also on Substack, but
it's great. I love it. I love In Broad Daylight. It's a lot of fun.
No, you don't.
If you are a member of patreon.com/Jeff May and you're listening to this upon release, that really means a lot to me because Mint on Card is this Friday. It's our 9th anniversary show. So come on down to that at Blast from the Past in beautiful Magnolia in Burbank, California. Now, on top of that, you can hear all the stuff I do on Gamefully Unemployed with Tom Reimer, like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, and all the that I do with Adam on all the places that he just sent you to. You don't even like this show. You don't even like sports. Monday show coming up soon. So you're going to want to check that out. Adam and I, we're gonna play a little game for patrons and for the Bone Con. We're gonna a little bit of Bone Con.
All right.
Play a game. But if you are not a Patreon and you want to, head on over to patreon.com/Jeff May. You can sign up for multiple tiers. There's so much stuff we have here. I mail people cards. So some of the stuff you'll see us open, you'll get in the mail. Very, very fun. That's stuff that I very much enjoy. So definitely want to check that out. What else? At Jeff Has Cool Cards is the YouTube account where I do I Must Break Yous and all that stuff. But for now, I guess just head on over. Check it out. The Patreon's really good, and it's not that expensive. So, bye.
Bye.
Hey, everyone. Our artwork is created by Justin T. Brown, who can be found at Artness by Justin Brown on Instagram, as well as artnessbyjustinbrown.com. That dope music you heard is by Troy Nababon, available at Troy Nababon on Instagram, as well as at troynababon.com. Nababon is spelled Nababon.